This is one of my favorite meditation practices, and it's very good for grounding yourself along the midline. So from the top of the crown of your head, down the spine, through the sacrum and tailbone into the ground. What you need to do is just sit very comfortably, and I'd like you to just very gently start moving your head from side to side. You can do this with your eyes open or closed, but the main aim is to feel the structures of the upper spine. So you can feel the head and face, neck, back of the head, rotating around a central pivot. There's this extraordinary structure right down through the middle of us that enables us to sit up straight and allow the body to rotate horizontally like this. When you're doing this practice, it's very good to sit up straight with an unsupported back. Just the movement of sitting up straight brings you into contact with your spine. And you just bring the attention into the upper midline. And the gentle movement actually allows you to feel this. And then you just very slowly bring the movement down to a much gentler pace. And often when you make smaller, slower movements, you notice much more. And then you bring the movement to a stop. And when you stop, see if you can still sense the upper spine. Does it stay with you? Or can you just notice little after residual sensations of it? Or for some people, maybe it vanishes. Don't worry about this. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not clear. But it's very useful to bring your attention into this area. And then to contact with the central spine, I always like resting my hands on my shoulders. All you're going to do is rotate your shoulders around very, very gently, slowly. And in the same way, you're just wanting to feel the actual physical structure of the spine. So if you can't feel much inside, you can still sense that something's moving. And you may notice your rib cage, you may notice the shape of your upper trunk. You may not notice much at all. But just moving slowly, bringing the awareness into the center, somehow you can notice that there's a vertical axis there, enabling this movement. And then bringing the movement to a slower pace. As you slow it down, just notice if you can feel the back. Often slowing it down, you notice much more. And then just gradually bring it into a standstill. And just notice if you can still sense the midline or the spine there. And then to get the lower part of the body, the lumbar spine, with the sacrum and the tailbone at the base of it, this way is a good way of connecting with it. You just basically rotate and look off to the side And with this movement, you can feel your hips, maybe you can feel your pelvis. You might notice your sitting bones or your sacrum curving round just behind the bottom area. And see if you can notice a much sturdier, chunkier, wider spine at the bottom that can really support the whole of the whole body. So just gently moving. You can just bring the movements into a shorter range, just gradually slowing down, and see if you can stay with the sense of the lower spine, supporting the whole vertical body above it. And then just come to a resting point. And now this is where the interesting stuff happens. I'd like you to imagine that you're a boat out at sea on a beautiful summer's day. It's very calm, and the sea is just moving incredibly slightly. There's just like a very slight ocean swell. So there's lots of space around you and just a nice gentle buoyancy. And the spine is like the mast of a yacht or a boat. And with the whole spine in your awareness, I'd like you just to very gently rock backwards and forwards, so you can feel the whole spine, much like a boat would move on a very calm ocean, just very gently bobbing backwards and forwards like this. And as you do so, you can probably feel your spine quite clearly, and see if you can sense the spine dropping down beneath the body into the ground like a plumb line going down, or a better image is the rudder of a boat going down underneath into the sea. And allow this sense of midline to just drop down beneath the chair where you're sitting. And you can move from side to side slightly too. And once again, if you do really small movements like this, you can feel it quite clearly. It's almost like an energetic or a magnetic awareness going down into the ground. And you just allow your center to find its place and to ground itself, earth itself. And you rest in this lovely state of awareness, which is calm, centered, open, with a great sense of space all around you. It's very interesting to notice how the ground feels beneath you. Sometimes it can feel solid as a rock. Other times it can feel like air or space. Other times it can feel a little bit fluid, as if you are indeed on a yacht on a calm day out at sea. Of course, the ground is hard, it's physical, but if you sense into it with your awareness, it can feel very different. This is a very good practice to do for any stress-related symptom. It's very good to do this on the plane, on a train, just sitting quietly in your living room. What's particularly useful about this for tinnitus is that it brings your focus back in and down, and it really anchors down into the ground. Tinnitus tends to make us up and out. We're in our head, we're worrying we're focusing on thoughts and our senses are going bananas, hyper vigilant, focusing out there. So anything that brings you back in and down, so focusing on the spine and its connection down to the ground, can be very centering. It can bring us out of freeze or fight or flight response, which most people in tinnitus live in most of the time. And when you feel yourself just switching off, you get that lovely settling feeling, which is incredibly helpful. Then the head just becomes something at the top of your body. Your senses can potter along in the background without us demanding anything from them or reacting to them. We're leaving the head alone, we're leaving the senses alone, and just resting in a calm, centered state. This is a fantastic technique. I really recommend it highly and encourage you to practice it. Doing it in direct contact with me or somebody else who has practiced this, it can really help transfer this grounded awareness. We can do this on Skype, you can do it by yourself, and I really hope it benefits you.